Desserts that are low in calories, low in sugar, and good for you.
In today's Focus on Family, Chinese medicine that focuses on food. Dr. Ed Lamadrid is an acupuncturist and wellness expert who's sharing some recipes for healthy desserts that are low in calories, low in sugar, all good for you. I love this idea of sort of getting our great nutrients and body-building elements through our food as opposed to just taking a pill.
Absolutely. Chinese medicine, one of the components is actually using food as medicine. A lot of people don't realize that. We study basically every food that's out there and what its effect on the body is and how it can support treatments like acupuncture or body work.
How wonderful that these that look so good. I looked at some of these recipes. I'm like, oh my gosh, they look wonderful. And they're good for me too. What a bonus.
And they taste good too.
All right, so let's start with the first one. It's a ginger honey pear.
So ginger honey pear, it's real basic. It's use any kind of pear, Bartlett pear, Chinese pear, and you're baking it. The sauce is honey, water, and a little bit of ginger.
And I know that's one of the things you say, instead of using sugar for sweetener, try some alternatives that are actually good for you. Honey, what are some of the others that you would recommend?
So I use a lot of stevia, which is a leaf-based plant sweetener, which is great. Has a very low glycemic index, 0 calories.
Wonderful.
Well.
Okay.
So
and the honey, of course.
In Chinese medicine, pear is used, this is the perfect season, the fall. The weather gets a little drier, and so pear is actually great for dry cough.
Oh.
And it tonifies the lungs. So pear is definitely the fruit of the season.
Okay, well, and
for medicinal, and it tastes awesome.
So that's wonderful. Our second one is our Breathe Easy apple.
Now, apple has the same qualities as pear. It quenches your thirst. It also tonifies the lungs. So also a nice fruit for the season, especially when it's getting drier.
But instead of just having one cold, I know as the weather gets colder, it's nicer to have some of the warmer foods.
Well, in Chinese medicine is really about, you know, basically if it's cold outside, we should be eating more warming foods. You know, if it's cold, if it's warm outside, then definitely more cooling foods. So, you know, all of these desserts can be prepared, can be offered cold, but ideally should be warm. And so this baked apple is just apple with some lime juice and some raisins to garnish.
Perfect. Oh, and then we've got some pumpkin mousse here.
The pumpkin mousse, this is great. It's we're using just pumpkin, you know, ground pumpkin, not pumpkin pie filler. Pumpkin pie filler usually has a lot of sugar, a lot of spices. And again, all of these have been sweetened only with honey or with stevia. So the sugar count is much lower, the carb, you know, count is much lower, 0 fat, especially for these first three.
So I guess we could use that for a pumpkin pie instead of using the sugar. So
and you can add a little cinnamon, a little stevia, you know, for taste. But it's definitely great.
And the hot fruit compote, I love this idea. We do smoothies in the morning, but again, it's cold, and in the winter, you don't always want the cold. So what a great way to have a mixture of fruits, but instead in a compote.
So this can be served warm or cold, and the fruit compote, you know, it's got pear, it's got apple, it's got other things also like dried apricots, raisins, and I've also included goji berries, which are, you know, have been around for thousands of years. Goji berries are great for energy. And so, you know, for people that are maybe a little run down in the fall, that kind of may lead to getting a cold in the season. Goji berries is a great way to kind of
So you buy these dried?
Yeah. And so many supermarkets now have them, like Whole Foods and many stores have them, and so it's incorporated in here, and it's just like raisins.
Goji berries. Well, thank you so much. Some wonderful recipes. We've got a couple of more that we will have on our webpage. If you want more information, you can visit edlamadrid.com, or we'll link you right there by going to WGNTV.com/midday. And coming up next in the Midday Buzz, Dean's review of the Prince concert. And